Oi, pessoal! Hoje é o último dia para participar lá do sorteio no Inglês de Cru, no Instagram do Inglês de Cru. Então, você que ainda não participou, corre lá, porque já a gente vai fechar as inscrições para o sorteio, né? E lembrando que 6 pessoas vão ganhar, ou seja, vão ganhar produtos aqui do Inglês de Cru, vão ganhar o Challenge, ou o Sound School, as worksheets e uma delas vai ganhar também um plano do Cambly. Tá valendo muito a pena. Então você que ainda não participou, corre que ainda dá tempo. Você que já está participando, participa mais um pouco. Dá aquele gás, porque a gente está muito animado e quer muito saber quem serão os vencedores. E eu adoro isso porque é no plural. Então vai lá, hein, no Instagram do Inglês de Cru. O Cambly continua te oferecendo uma aula grátis lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly com falantes nativos do inglês. Todos os professores que estão lá são falantes nativos da língua inglesa. Então, você que está querendo melhorar o vocabulário, melhorar a conversação, falar sobre business, falar sobre a sua área de atuação, treinar para uma entrevista de emprego, vai no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly e coloca o nosso código em minutos grátis. O nosso código é Inglês de Cru Podcast. Vale muito a pena, todo mundo que fez curtiu e também os planos que eles oferecem é de acordo com o que você puder fazer e puder pagar. Então, se você puder fazer, por exemplo, 15 minutos por semana, tem plano assim. 30 minutos 2 vezes por semana, tem plano assim. Vai lá, dá uma fisticada, vale muito a pena. A gente não tá aqui falando todos os dias sobre isso para você se realmente a gente não acreditasse. Tá bom? Now, on with the show.
Hello, hey, sweet people, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Cru. Hey, Alexia, how are you doing?
Hey, Foster, I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
I have a headache. I'm tired. But I'm hanging in there and I'm talking to you.
Yes, I think that everyone can relate to you.
Yeah, tough times.
Yes.
But today we are going to talk about another type of cognitive bias. And this is one that I really enjoy. I think it's fascinating. I don't completely understand it, so I'll need your help in trying to clarify it. But how does that sound to you? Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes, of course. Let's do it.
Okay. So my first question, Alexia, have you ever heard of the Dunning-Krueger Effect?
No, never, ever. Maybe I know how people react, like what's a reaction of it, but I have no idea what the Dunning effect is.
Okay. So a simple no.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with the pronunciation. The Dunning-Krueger.
Dunning-Krueger.
And do you know what Dunning-Krueger means?
No, just reminds me of Dunkin' Donuts. I have no idea why.
It reminds you of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
Because you love...
Dunking.
Okay. Do you have a guess what a Dunning is or what a Kruger is?
I would guess a Kruger is the last name.
Correct. These are both last names of the psychologists that were the first ones to study this effect and this cognitive bias.
Cool.
So that was a trick question. Dunning-Krueger effect. That's what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Okay, so you've never heard about this. You don't know anything. So we're starting from zero, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so let me try to explain this very simply, which is going to be complicated, but I'm going to try. So the Dunning-Krueger effect essentially states that most people are really bad at assessing our abilities. So this works in a few different ways, but in general, we don't know how good or how bad we are at things. And this could be anything.
Okay.
Are you following me?
Yes.
Okay. So the most common manifestation of the Dunning-Krueger effect is people that have very low skills in a certain area think that they are better than they actually are.
Or the opposite situation.
The opposite situation, also, that happens as well. But first, let's talk about the most common situation. So people with low skills think that they actually have better abilities than they do in reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Maybe it's a person like Shayetsi, trying to prove a point that it doesn't need to be proven at all.
It could be. I think there is a little bit of that, but I also think this is bigger. Like this happens to everyone in almost all areas of life. So, for example, or do you have any examples? I see you
No,
thinking.
I'm trying to think if I know someone. Well, I know someone. Actually, it was your story, but we can't tell it here, unfortunately.
What story?
About a person that I'm not gonna name it. You were teaching this person English, and then both of you were talking about a movie.
I know who you're talking about.
And this person was talking shit about this movie.
I don't think we can say anymore.
Yes. I mean, the fact is, this person really thought that she could have made that movie, that she would be the best person to make that movie. We can talk about it.
Yeah. So let's give a more simple example.
But that's a Dunning-Krueger effect, right?
Yeah, that's just kind of being an egotistical asshole, to be honest. So let's think of a more simple example. Let's take the example of driving.
Okay.
Alexia, do you think you're a good driver?
Yes, I am.
That was confident.
Yes, I am. I'm a good driver. That no one can take away from me. I am a good driver.
Okay, so let me throw some statistics at you. So after you learn to drive and you receive your driver's license, let's say 6 months after that, most young people still think they're a good driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine, when did you start driving?
Officially or not officially?
Legally.
Okay. Legally 18 years old.
Okay, so when you were 18 and a half, I imagine you were driving around Rio thinking, I'm an awesome driver, right?
Yeah.
So people that have only had their license for 6 months, they are 8 times more likely to get in a car accident than someone that's been driving for a long time, right?
Okay, it
so
makes
new
sense.
New drivers think they're good drivers, but in reality, they're really shitty drivers.
And that's why the insurance is so expensive during that age.
Yep.
For that age.
Of course. So another really easy example is with language learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this all of the time. Everyone wants to know like their level of language learning, but especially with more beginning learners, like people that are just starting out. I typically see this with what I would call like just good beginners. They've been studying English for a few years. They can speak, they can say a few things. If you ask them their level, most people will say, oh, I'm an intermediate. I can communicate. But if you're actually thinking about statistically, the people that have learned languages, they're beginners, just plain and simple, right?
Yeah. No, it's thinking that this must happen a lot with advanced speakers that think that they don't need to learn English anymore because they already speak, They already know everything.
Yeah, that's like my Portuguese. If you ask me what's my level of Portuguese, I would say I'm a very advanced speaker. I stopped studying Portuguese like 5 years ago. But in reality, I'm like a high intermediate Portuguese speaker, and I should study a lot more. But that's the Dunning-Krueger effect. I think I'm smarter than I am. Most people also think they're smarter than they actually are.
Yeah. But on the other side, we should trust ourselves, Like,
No.
okay. I think that we should. Because if you don't trust yourself, who's gonna? Maybe we had to admit, of course, that we are not good enough in Portuguese and English, driving, etc. But I mean, having a little bit of trust on yourself, it's good.
In yourself?
In yourself, it's good.
Yeah. Being confident is not a bad thing, but it can be quite dangerous in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
So let me talk about the other side of the Dunning-Krueger effect. Very advanced people have the tendency to underestimate their skills. You're saying, Alexia?
Uh-huh.
You're considering yourself very advanced in what area?
If you ask me, Alexia, I know you can do this, I'll always say, no, I can't. Because some things I'm not that confident, but I know that I can do it.
Okay.
Take, for example, the business reunion that we had, the conference that we had.
The business reunion?
Conference.
The business... Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. We're talking a little bit about different things of like a lack of maybe self-confidence and actual skills and abilities. So let me give a simple example here. Most like professionals, people that are really excellent at what they do, they tend to underestimate their abilities. So let's take a professional swimmer, for example.
Mm-hmm.
An Olympic swimmer is probably thinking, I'm still not good enough, or Michael Phelps is still better than me, so I'm really not that good. But a very basic swimmer, me, for example, I swam when I was a little kid. I still know how to swim. If you asked me, what percentage of like swimmers in the U.S. am I would probably say top 10%. That's a guess, but that's definitely wrong.
Yes. Yes, but I understand what you mean.
Okay. And can you see why this situation can cause a lot of problems? So take the example of swimming. You have people that are very basic at swimming. They don't really know how to swim, but they think they're a lot better than they are. And then you have people that are very advanced at swimming, but they think they're not actually as good as they are. Can you see why this might be problematic?
Of course.
Do you have any?
I imagine right away, with a job interview, for example.
Okay.
Like people who have a lot of experience, they underestimate themselves, and those who are starting, they are high evaluating themselves, and maybe who's starting won't be good enough for that job position, and they really needed the advanced, but the older person. I don't know, the
more experienced.
Yes, and it's gonna be very, very confusing because at the end of the day, the person who doesn't have that much skills or anything, they will get the job and they won't have things done, while the other person would be the best fit for it.
Yeah, that's a good possible example. A very clear example that I was reading about to maintain the example of swimming So let's imagine we are on a deserted island and we have to swim to safety, right?
Right.
And for the purposes of this example, let's say that I am a very advanced swimmer and you are a beginner.
Okay. Okay.
We can do it the opposite.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So the beginner is probably thinking, I can do this. I can swim. I can make it to shore. That's okay.
I'm going to
I'm
die in the middle of
confident.
it.
Yeah, who knows? But the advanced person is probably thinking, oh, this isn't that difficult. Like, I know people that are better than me that can do this faster. So this beginner, it's going to be okay for them too, right?
Right.
So it can be really dangerous when you have experts that don't really perceive their own value. And then you have novices, beginners, who think they're much better than they are. It just creates biases all over the place where no one knows how good anybody actually is at anything. And it makes it really difficult to do anything correctly.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to start pay attention about it.
Yes, this is a good thing to pay attention to. I don't have any suggestions about how to mitigate against this, except the first thing is just recognizing there are probably a lot of areas in your life that you are thinking you are much more talented than you actually are. And there are probably some areas that you're thinking you're actually not that talented when you are.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, of course. And it's a good way to understand yourself, to know better what you're capable and what you're not.
Yes, all of these cognitive biases are in the hope to be more self-aware, self-actualized, or trying to be better people.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, guys, that is the Dunning-Krueger Effect. Check it out. Watch some YouTube videos on it. Leave us a comment. Do something. Whatever. We love you guys. We'll just see you tomorrow.
Bye. Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do Inglês no Micro Rádio e relembrando aquilo que eu estou falando na intro. Ou seja, você pode muito bem participar do nosso sorteio que está rolando lá no Inglês no Cru. Bom, quando eu falo lá no Inglês no Cru, quer dizer no Instagram do Inglês no Cru. Então, nós vamos sortear 6 pessoas diferentes. Cada uma delas vai ganhar um produto. A gente se juntou junto com Cambly. Quer dizer, a gente virou, Cambly, quer participar? Quero! E é isso, gente. Parceria é a melhor coisa da vida, né? Então, vá lá, porque esse sorteio rola até o dia 1 de julho. Então, tá valendo muito a pena. Procura a foto oficial, o post oficial, siga as regras direitinho e você pode ser um dos ganhadores. Muito bom. Então é isso. Te vejo no próximo episódio, hein?